That morning, the woman making lattes had trembling hands. The customer thought it was from the coffee machine vibration. But the truth was, those hands had saved 12 lives in Fallujah, and that trembling was war's never-ending gift. Sarah Chen, 29 years old, working at Starbucks in Denver for 3 years. Customers knew her as a smiling, quiet barista. Until that morning, when one customer asked the wrong question. And in that moment, the truth she'd hidden for 7 years suddenly came to light. This story isn't about courage, it's about secrecy, and how sometimes the greatest heroes work in the most unexpected places. Sarah woke up every morning at 6. She'd shower, put on her uniform, take the bus to work. Green apron, name tag, always the same. The first thing she did when she arrived at work was wash her hands, long and thorough, with soap with hot water. Customers would order, grande latte, venti cappuccino, extra shot. Sarah would smile and say thank you. She didn't like talking much, didn't like asking questions either, especially didn't like being asked questions about herself. Her coworkers liked her, reliable, quiet, never complained. Nobody asked about her past. Nobody noticed when she suddenly stopped and stared into the distance. Nobody could know why she couldn't sleep at night. In her home, in her bedroom closet, was a small box, metal, locked, hidden where nobody could see. Inside were old photos, medals, and a letter that was never opened. She hadn't opened that box, not for 3 years. Sarah's apartment was small but clean. Everything in its place, everything organized. She didn't talk to neighbors, didn't invite anyone over. Evenings, she'd watch TV, cook dinner, go to bed early. A normal life, an ordinary life. But nights were different. At night, everything came back. Sounds, smells, those days. In her dreams, there was desert, explosion sounds, and blood. So much blood. But when morning came, she was the same calm Sarah again. That Tuesday morning was like any other. Sarah had gotten up at 6, gotten ready, gone to work. Starbucks opened at 7, but staff came at 6:30. To prepare the machines, check products, start the day, the first customers came at 7. Businessmen, students, nurses, all in a hurry, all tired, all needing coffee. Sarah would take orders, make coffee, smile, say thank you. At 8 o'clock, that customer came. A man in his 50s, someone with military bearing, careful eyes. He was wearing a veteran cap, a cap that said Iraq War. The man came to the counter, looked at Sarah. He ordered a grande Americano. Sarah started making the coffee. While the man waited, he watched Sarah's movements, those definitely experienced hands, that careful posture. The man noticed something. Sarah had a small mark on her arm, very faint, almost invisible scar. The man recognized this type of mark, shrapnel scar, bomb fragment scar. When the coffee was ready, the man took it but didn't leave. He looked at Sarah. "Were you military?" he asked. Sarah froze. This was the question nobody had asked for 3 years. This was the question that brought back everything she was trying to forget. "No," Sarah said, "I'm just a barista." The man didn't believe her. He recognized that movement, that careful posture, those quick reflexes. "I was in Iraq too," he said. "You were there, weren't you?" Sarah's hands started trembling. Customers were waiting, but she couldn't answer. In that moment, she went back 7 years, back to Fallujah, back to that day. "I just make coffee," Sarah said, but her voice was shaking. The man didn't insist. He just took his coffee, said thank you, and left. But as he left something behind. A small card. On it was a phone number and writing, "Veterans need help too." Sarah took that card in her hand. She was trembling a lot. Her coworkers asked what was wrong. "Nothing," she said, "just tired." That night, Sarah went home but couldn't sleep. She'd put that card on the table and was looking at it. For 3 years, nobody had asked. For 3 years, nobody had noticed. But this man had noticed. She went to her bedroom, opened the closet, took out that metal box. The key was still in the same place. She opened the box. Inside were photographs, photos taken in the desert. A young woman in uniform. That woman was Sarah. but a very different Sarah. Strong, determined, fearless Sarah. There were medals: Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Combat Medical Badge. All hers, all earned, all forgotten. And there was that letter, never opened. On it was written Sarah's old name: Staff Sergeant Sarah Chen, 68W Combat Medic. That night Sarah cried for the first time in a long while. Tears she'd held for 3 years. Pain she'd hidden for 3 years. Everything came out. The next morning Sarah returned to normal, got up at 6, went to work, started making coffee. But something had changed. That card was still in her pocket. That veteran man came again. Same order, same kind manner. But this time, Sarah looked at him differently. As the man took his coffee, he told Sarah, "I come every Tuesday. If you want to talk, I'm here." Sarah thanked him. And that day, for the first time in 3 years, after work she went somewhere different. She went to the Veteran Support Center. The support center was a small building downtown, nothing fancy. Just a place where veterans could talk, get help, find community. Sarah stood outside for 10 minutes before going in. Inside there were other veterans, some young, some old, some missing limbs, some with invisible wounds, all of them understanding something Sarah had forgotten, that she wasn't alone. A counselor talked to her, asked about her service, asked about her struggles. For the first time in years, Sarah talked, really talked. About Fallujah, about the blood, about the nightmares, about trying to be normal when nothing felt normal anymore. The counselor listened, didn't judge, didn't try to fix everything with simple answers, just listened. And for Sarah, that was enough, for now. Sarah started going to the center every week, met other veterans, heard their stories, shared her own. Slowly, very slowly, she started remembering who she used to be. Not just the barista, not just the quiet girl, the soldier, the medic, the hero. Months passed. Sarah still worked at Starbucks, but something was different. She walked taller, spoke more. When customers were rude, she didn't shrink away. She remembered that she'd faced worse than angry coffee drinkers. One day, a young woman came to the counter, college age, nervous, wearing an Army ROTC shirt. She ordered a simple coffee, but kept looking around like she didn't belong. Sarah recognized that look, the look of someone trying to figure out if they were strong enough, if they were brave enough, if they belonged. The young woman dropped her change. As she bent to pick it up, she saw Sarah's scar, the shrapnel mark that had given everything away months before. "Were you deployed?" the young woman asked quietly. This time, Sarah didn't freeze. This time, she didn't lie. "Yes," she said, "Fallujah, 2004. The young woman's eyes widened. "I'm thinking about joining," she said, "after college, but I'm scared." Sarah looked at her, really looked at her, saw herself 7 years ago, young, determined, ready to serve, but terrified of what that might mean. "What scares you most?" Sarah asked. "Everything," the young woman said. "Not being strong enough, not being brave enough, not coming back the same person." Sarah smiled, the first real smile she'd had in years. "You won't come back the same person," she said. "That's not a bad thing. You'll come back stronger, different, but stronger." They talked for 20 minutes, about service, about fear, about what it meant to be a soldier. Sarah shared things she'd never told anyone, not even the counselor. When the young woman left, she hugged Sarah. "Thank you," she said. "You helped me more than you know." That night, Sarah went home and opened the metal box again. But this time, she didn't cry. This time, she smiled. She took out the photos, the medals, the letter. She read the letter, finally read it. It was from her commanding officer, thanking her for her service, telling her how proud he was, telling her that the 12 soldiers she'd saved had families who would never forget her. Sarah put the photos on her dresser, where she could see them, where visitors could see them. She wasn't hiding anymore. The next Tuesday, when the veteran man came for his coffee, Sarah was ready. She'd written something on his cup, not his name, something else. When he looked at the cup, He saw it. "Thank you for seeing me." The man looked up at Sarah, smiled, and for the first time, they really talked. About Iraq, about coming home, about finding purpose after service. "I never thanked you properly," Sarah said, "for that day, for the card, for helping me remember." "You don't need to thank me," the man said. "We look out for each other. That's what we do." Sarah still works at Starbucks, still makes coffee, still smiles. But now, nobody just calls her a barista anymore. She has veteran friends, people she shares her story with. She volunteers at the support center now, helps other veterans transition, talks to young people thinking about military service, shares her story not because she has to, but because she wants to. Her coworkers know now about her service, about her medals, about what those trembling hands had really done. They treat her differently now, not with pity, but with respect. Sometimes customers notice the photos on her phone lock screen, pictures of her in uniform, pictures with her squad, and they ask, and Sarah answers now, because she knows now there's nothing to be ashamed of. Last month, the young ROTC woman came back. She'd made her decision. She was going to serve, and she wanted Sarah to know that their conversation had made the difference. Sarah gave her something before she left, the combat medical badge from her box. "Wear it during training," she said. "Remember that someone believes in you." The young woman cried. Sarah didn't. She'd done enough crying. Now she was ready to help others find their strength. Sarah still has nightmares sometimes, still wakes up thinking about Fallujah, but now she doesn't face them alone. She has people to call, people who understand, people who remind her that she's not broken. She's a survivor. Sometimes heroes work in places we don't expect. Sometimes they don't have uniforms. Their medals aren't visible. They just serve quietly and wait. Wait for someone to notice. Wait for someone to remind them who they really are. Have you ever met someone like this? Someone who seems ordinary but has an extraordinary past? Share with us in the comments, because every hero story deserves to be told.